Yo, what's up everybody? DG underscore revolutionary here. We're about to take a deep dive into a topic that's close to my heart, Africa. But we're not talking about the wildlife or the music today, though those are amazing. We're talking about something much less glamorous but incredibly important: infrastructure. Think of it like the backbone of a continent. You can't stand tall without a strong one. Now, Africa is a massive continent, 54 countries, diverse in culture, resources, and yes, infrastructure. And while there's been progress, the challenges are real. From bumpy roads and flickering lights to internet speeds slower than a snail on vacation, these issues are holding back the continent's true potential. So, buckle up, because we're about to embark on a road trip across Africa, exploring the good, the bad, and the downright frustrating when it comes to infrastructure. And trust me, there'll be plenty to laugh about, even when things get serious, because that's how we do things here, right? We learn, we laugh, and hopefully we leave a little more informed. First stop, North Africa, land of pyramids, ancient history, and some pretty rough roads. I'm talking about you, Algeria. This place has got oil and gas reserves bigger than Kanye's ego. But getting those resources to the rest of the continent, let's just say it's an adventure. Think donkey carts on dirt roads, folks, not exactly the picture of efficiency. Then you've got Egypt, the land of pharaohs, trying to navigate the Nile of development with one hand tied behind its back. They've got the Suez Canal, a major shipping artery, but internal transport. Think overcrowded highways and trains that would make a New Yorker nostalgic. Libya, bless their hearts. They've been through a lot. It's like trying to build a house of cards in a windstorm. Basic infrastructure is a luxury they're still striving for. Morocco, on the other hand, they're like the cool kids in class, relatively speaking. Decent roads, growing renewable energy sector, but even they struggle with internet access in rural areas. It's like trying to FaceTime your grandma with dial-up, frustrating for everyone involved. And finally, Tunisia. After the Arab Spring, they're trying to rebuild, but it's tough when you're working with outdated infrastructure. It's like trying to win a marathon with sandals on. Possible, but not ideal. The bottom line is, North Africa's got potential, but they need to invest in roads, railways, and reliable power grids if they want to compete in the 21st century. Otherwise, they're just going to be stuck in the slow lane, watching the rest of the world zoom by. All right, let's cruise down to West Africa, a region bursting with energy, literally and figuratively. Nigeria, the giant of Africa, is a prime example. This place is like a supercharged engine sputtering on fumes. They've got the population, the resources, but the infrastructure, let's just say it needs a serious upgrade. Traffic in Lagos makes rush hour in New York look like a Sunday drive. And don't even get me started on the power outages. It's like a game show. Will the lights stay on? The answer might shock you, but hey, at least they're resourceful. Nigerians are masters of improvisation, using generators like they're going out of style. Ghana, our neighbor to the west, they're like that friend who's always trying to better themselves. They're making strides in renewable energy and trying to improve their ports, but they've got a long way to go. Côte d'Ivoire, they're like the quiet achiever, quietly building up their infrastructure, but even they struggle with internet penetration, especially outside the cities. Senegal and Mali, they're facing similar challenges: poor roads, unreliable power, and internet access that makes you want to throw your phone into the ocean. But amidst all this, there's hope. West Africa is young, dynamic, and full of entrepreneurial spirit. They just need the tools to succeed, and that means investing in infrastructure. Now we're heading into the heart of Africa, a region rich in natural resources, but often overlooked when it comes to development. The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC for short, is a prime example. They've got more minerals than a rapper's jewelry collection, but getting them out of the ground and to the market, that's a whole other story. Think roads that disappear after a heavy rain, rivers that are more reliable than highways, and power outages that would make even the most patient person lose their cool. It's a tough place to do business, let alone build a sustainable economy. Gabon, they're trying to diversify their economy away from oil, but they need better infrastructure to attract foreign investment. It's like trying to sell a used car with a flat tire and a broken headlight. You might find a buyer, but it's not going to be easy. Angola, they're in a similar boat, trying to rebuild after years of civil war. They've got oil money, but it's not trickling down to the people who need it most. And don't even get me started on the internet. It's like trying to have a conversation with someone on a 5-second delay. Chad and Cameroon, they're facing similar challenges. Poor infrastructure, limited access to electricity, and internet speeds that would make a tortoise impatient. It's a vicious cycle. Poor infrastructure stifles economic growth, which makes it harder to invest in infrastructure. But hey, at least the scenery is beautiful, right? Next up, East Africa, home to the Serengeti, Mount Kilimanjaro, and some of the fastest growing economies in Africa. Kenya, the tech hub of the region, is leading the charge. They've got mobile money, innovative startups, and they're even building a brand new railway line. But even they struggle with power outages, traffic jams, and internet access that can be spotty at best. It's like they're trying to run a marathon with one leg. Ethiopia, they're like the marathon runner who's always nipping at Kenya's heels. They're investing heavily in hydropower and infrastructure, and they're making progress, but they've still got a long way to go. Uganda, they're like the friend who's always got a side hustle going on. They're trying to develop their oil industry, but they need better infrastructure to make it work. It's like trying to bake a cake without an oven. Sure, you can try, but it's not going to end well. And then there's Tanzania. They've got the beaches, the wildlife, and some of the worst roads in East Africa. It's like trying to drive through a minefield of potholes. But hey, at least the views are amazing, right? East Africa is a region of contrasts. Stunning natural beauty alongside persistent poverty, booming tech hubs struggling with basic infrastructure. But one thing's for sure, they're not giving up without a fight. Now we're heading down south to the land of Nelson Mandela. Breathtaking landscapes and a mixed bag of infrastructure. South Africa, the economic powerhouse of the region, is a tale of two cities. They've got world-class cities like Johannesburg and Cape Town with modern infrastructure and all the amenities you could ask for. But just outside those urban oases, it's a different story. Rural areas often lack basic services like electricity, running water, and decent roads. It's like stepping back in time. Botswana, they're like the quiet overachiever using their diamond wealth to invest in infrastructure and education. They've got decent roads, a stable power grid, and they're even making progress in internet connectivity. Namibia, they're like the adventure seeker with vast deserts, stunning coastlines, and a serious lack of paved roads. It's a 4x4 enthusiast dream, but it makes it tough to transport goods and services efficiently. And then there's Zimbabwe. They've been through a lot, and their infrastructure has suffered as a result. Hyperinflation, political instability, and a lack of investment have taken their toll. It's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of bricks. Southern Africa is a region of immense potential, but they need to address inequality and invest in infrastructure if they want to create a more prosperous future for all. Last but not least, let's hop over to the island nations, those idyllic paradises scattered across the Indian Ocean. Madagascar, the land of lemurs and baobab trees, is facing a unique set of challenges. Their isolation makes it expensive to import goods and services, and their infrastructure is often at the mercy of cyclones and other natural disasters. It's like trying to build a sandcastle on the edge of the tide. Mauritius, on the other hand, they're like the resort owner who's got it all figured out. They've got a thriving tourism industry, a stable economy, and they've invested heavily in infrastructure. But even they face challenges like limited freshwater resources and a reliance on imported fossil fuels. It's like trying to throw a party on a cruise ship. Sure, you've got everything you need, but you're still at the mercy of the elements. And finally, Seychelles, those picture-perfect islands with white sand beaches and turquoise waters. They've got tourism down to a science, but they're also facing the impacts of climate change, like rising sea levels and more extreme weather events. It's like trying to enjoy a picnic on a melting glacier. The island nations of Africa are on the front lines of climate change, and they need help to adapt and build resilience. Investing in renewable energy, climate-smart infrastructure, and disaster preparedness is crucial for their survival. So there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of Africa's infrastructure, challenges and triumphs. From crumbling roads to innovative tech hubs, from power outages to renewable energy projects, Africa is a continent of contrasts, a place where hope and hardship often go hand in hand. But one thing's for sure, Africa is not a lost cause. It's a continent brimming with potential, just waiting for the right investments to unlock it. By addressing the infrastructure deficit, we can unleash a wave of economic growth, create jobs, and improve the lives of millions of people. So let's work together to build a brighter future for Africa, one road, one power grid, one internet connection at a time. Because when Africa thrives, the whole world benefits. Peace out.